Mattis is running by my side off leash because he's that good of a dog. I go to jump over the retaining wall, and I see that the dude's still falling 30 feet.
Oh, shit.
Like what I thought was 10 feet was 30 feet.
Oh, man.
And so I catch myself, and then I see one of the scariest things I've seen to this day was Mattis leaping over that retaining wall, just frozen in midair with fear in his eyes as he fell 30 feet and landed on the guy.
Yo, 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 it's your boy Phil Wham Bam Benamino, and it's another Wham Bam Wednesday. You know, the show about ordinary people who've done extraordinary things. And today is no different. We have legend, author, Marine, police officer, and canine handler Mark Tappan is in the house. And he's not even the special guest. The special guest is his dog, Mattis, who's got a Purple Heart, 200 arrests. He seized over $2 million worth of product with his 200 arrest. And they're here right now today. Mark, how you doing, baby?
Man, thanks for having us. And you are 100% right. He's the star.
Mattis is the true star. What a legend. I can't wait to get to his story and how you can talk about that and stuff. But, you know, first let's talk about you real quick. Being a Marine guy, you know, how did you get into being a canine handler?
Oh, canine handler. Well, I wasn't a handler in the Marine Corps. Marine Corps was kind of something that I needed in my life because I was a rudderless ship. But I saw something in a man that I really admire, my uncle. All these qualities that he had. He was extremely successful in life, and he had, you know, successful businesses. He had done well in those, but also he was just a man of character, and he'd done well in life. He had a great marriage and all these things. And I looked at his life, and I looked at my life as I'm flunking out of college after 2 semesters, and I'm like, what does he have? And he always attributed so much to the Marine Corps. And so that's kind of why I went into the Marine Corps. And then if you go fast forward to police work, why I got into handling is I think it's the absolute best job in the world. You get to play with a dog for a living. It's an ultimate challenge because you're always training or untraining these dogs. They're always learning from you.
Right.
And so you're either teaching them.
I gotta imagine you had a lot of lessons with him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What was your most greatest lesson that you have? I love how he just plays with you constantly and stuff. But what is like, what do you think the biggest lesson you got out of being from him?
Well, so from him, I think it's his work ethic, right? And the way that he loves life and loves his work. Like like you should have seen him today. I put his collar on, which meant he knew he was going to get to go do something with me.
Yeah.
He started running. He's 11 years old. He was limping around in circles. So excited to come here because he thought, man, maybe I get to do my job today.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of why I wrote the book too, is I saw this dog and I saw these qualities of a love for life and a love for everything he does. And I felt convicted. It's like, man, he is making the most out of what he is. Why can't I do that with my own life?
Yeah. Well, you know, I want to tell the viewers here, Mattis is actually not just a dog, okay? He's actually a canine dog. He's retired at this point because he has, over 200 criminal arrests. Yeah. You know, I think he seized over $2 million worth of products and money and stuff, and actually has a Purple Heart.
Yeah, he's got a lot of awards.
So you know, so he's a legend. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what it's like having that type of animal, which you know, they're people. Like, I mean, they're family, right?
Oh,
and you're talking about somebody that actually saves other people's lives and does things, you know, that people don't even do at times.
Right.
You know?
And that's, once again, he's so amazing. It blows me away the way that he lives his life. I always say he made me look so much better than I am as a handler.
Yeah.
He's an amazing dog. He's intuitive. He's smart. He's courageous. And this sounds funny, but I really mean it, that I felt a great honor to be able to have this dog and to be on the other end of the leash with him because he made me look really good. And my career is what it is because I picked a good dog. Yeah. So, yeah, he's won a lot of awards. He's done a lot of things, and he has saved some lives, which is pretty cool.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How do you train a dog? Like, first of all, how old are they? You know, how old was Matty when he started as a, you know, when he was on your force? Like,
so I got him when
like you said, you picked him, so you had to go through a process. Is there an
selection
audition?
process? Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. And another thing that I cover in the book, but I didn't want him. I wanted something smaller because I'm a little guy, right? And so, and he's a monster. Like he's lost 33 pounds since he stopped working. So
Oh, yeah?
just imagine him.
Wow, he was even bigger.
More muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, 33 pounds more
That's
muscle.
what I
on that
want. I
frame.
want a big
Yeah.
dog. Yeah. Come to the door.
Yeah, but he tested too good. He wasn't even supposed to be a police dog. He was a personal protection dog, and they hadn't trained him to be a police dog. But when I started testing dogs, I'm like, that's the one that I want. And they're like, he doesn't know anything. I'm like, I don't care. I'll teach him. Yeah. And so that's what the process was me on the weekends after work is putting the time into him. And then throughout his career, a dog will only be as good as you pour into them. And so 2 hours a day, every day, we were doing stuff.
So, you talk about testing, you talk about training. What kind of test do you put a dog through to say, hey, is he capable of doing these things?
Well, the first is you want to see his motivation. And you actually see it right now because you see how he's holding on to that ball.
Oh, yeah.
You saw how he brought it up to you, how he always wants to play. Yeah. That's his payment, right? That's how he gets rewarded. That's his money. And so,
can I do that with my kids? That would be nice.
Yeah.
Just give them a little toy.
Well, that's what it is, right? You got to find out what motivates them, whatever it is, and then you say, okay, if you do what I ask you to, this is how you earn it. And so you do tests by throwing the ball, hiding the ball, putting the ball in a place where they can see it but they can't get to it. Test their perseverance. Mm-hmm. So things like that. And that's what you're looking for. How hard they hunt for it. How hard they chase after it. Those are the things that you're testing, and he was just off the charts.
It's funny. A good friend of mine, and actually I know you know him as well, Nick White, who actually was, he's one of the most famous celebrity, dog trainers that are out there in the world today. But, obviously he has, been very, very successful with that. But he also had a TV show, the Tappan and Mattis. You were on it, yeah. Well, you were part of it. Mattis was on it.
Yeah, that's right.
But let's talk about the show a little bit and some of the things, because that really, always it was very amusing to watch, but it also was very intriguing how they set up certain different things for dogs, like sniffing, finding out where, drugs are and where things are. Talk a little bit about how hard is that to train a dog to sniff a certain scent?
Not hard. Like it's it's what they're made to do, right? And all you have to figure out is how to communicate what you want with the dog. The dog knows how to do everything that we ask him to, right? And all you have to do is figure out, okay, how can I tell him that this is the task that I want him to do it. Like I actually just worked with Nick on what he's doing something called SitStayLearn, where he's going, and I felt extremely honored that he asked me to do it.
Yeah,
he's
got a great
finding
program.
the best trainers around the world, and he's going and doing some different training sessions with them, and you can get them.
Yeah, you can purchase them. You can actually, your viewers are, they can purchase them and learn at home.
Yeah,
absolutely. Big
so
plug
cool.
for Nick right there and there.
Absolutely.
But he owns Off Leash Canine. He owns Off Leash. They have over 150 different locations.
Yeah.
He does a phenomenal job.
Yeah. But he came to me and he's like, hey, do you want to do a segment? I'm like, I'm honored. And so I taught Hawk, who's Mattis's son, who knows nothing. He's just kind of a jerk. He's my wife's dog. He's got the same drives he does, but not the confidence and bravery that this guy has. But I taught him in 3 days how to find anything with human odor on it.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not hard. It's just knowing how to communicate it to him.
So how do you do that? I'm just curious. Like, how do you do that?
So I told you, you're figuring out this is their payment, right? He really likes the ball. And so what I did was I said, okay, I will take a set of keys and I'll put my human odor on it and I'm going to toss it out and I'm going to lead you over to it and make you lay down. And as soon as you lay down by that thing that has an odor on it, I'm going to give you a ball. And you do it over and over and over and over and over again until they start making the connection. Oh, wait, maybe it's this smell that's getting me the ball. And then you start putting multiple smells out, multiple locations and hiding it and stuff like that. And you're just consistent over it. You have to buy you got to buy my course.
You're playing. You got
it's
to
a
buy
big
the course.
game.
It's a big game.
That's all it is.
You're playing a game with a dog and it's worthwhile.
That's what his whole job was. And that's why he loved it. Like you'd see him, he would he would nuke a criminal, like annihilate him, right? His tail's wagging.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the best game ever. I love it. So
now, that being said, obviously, you got an emotional attachment to them because you got to spend millions of hours, just being around them, training them, teaching them, doing those things. What is it like when you're really out there, on a job? Okay, where it's real life. You know, it's the lights are on, the police is out, and you're dealing with criminals, and you're dealing with a real life situation. Yeah. Do you get a little stressed out about that for the dog?
No, I always had a rule, and this is kind of where I vary a little bit in the way that I train dogs. Is I always saw us as a team, and if he goes, I go. So it's one of those that if I'm sending him into a situation, you're getting both of us. You're not just getting him. And so there's always this confidence that I always felt protected by him, and I hope he felt protected by me too.
Yeah.
Was because it was like we're in this together.
So there's never a situation where they said, "Hey, send the dog in," and the everybody else holds back, stays back.
Yeah, so there are some situations where that could happen, and it was one of those that I made a tactical decision that because there's a force spectrum, right? Levels of force that you use. Highest level is deadly force. A dog is way down here at less lethal force, like a pepper spray or a taser, right? And so I'm not going to send him into a situation that could be a lethal force situation when he's less than lethal force, right? He's pepper spray.
Sure.
So if I'm going to send him, and anytime you use less lethal force, you're supposed to have deadly force cover just in case it escalates. And so that was my rule was, okay, he's the less lethal. I'm the lethal if need be.
Right.
And so you're going to get both of us.
Gotcha.
We're coming together. We're a team. We'll make decisions.
Yeah. So what is that like? Tell me about some of the scenarios. I know you guys had a couple different situations where he actually bailed you out a little bit, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, his most famous one, and it's what he got the Purple Heart for, was we were chasing after some guys, canceled the chase a couple times because it was kind of a minor infraction. It was a traffic violation that started the whole thing. And traffic was pretty thick. And so it was like, okay, the guy made every bad decision that he could possibly make and ended up wrecking out in a parking lot where there was a police officer parked.
And so you're in a speed chase.
No,
so it started out. In a vehicle,
I canceled it. I tried to pull the car over because they made this abrupt lane change, and it was just one of those. Traffic was too thick. It was too dangerous, so I canceled myself. Oh. But he made a U-turn and came right back towards me, and I was like, "Okay, well, I'll make a U-turn." Kept going too fast, so I canceled myself again. He gets off at the next exit, wrecks out in a parking lot that a police officer is doing reports in, and so I start heading that way, and there's two people in the car. They bail out, start running. I kind of go to the south side of where I think they might be going, and I cut him off. And they see me, they see Mattis, and he hops over this retaining wall. And I thought the retaining wall was about 10 feet high. And so I'm running, and I had hit my door popper, so Mattis is running by my side off leash because he's that good of a dog, right? He has great control. And so he's not on a bite command. I go to jump over the retaining wall, and I see that the dude's still falling. 30 feet.
Oh, shit.
Like what I thought was 10 feet was 30 feet.
Oh, man.
And so I catch myself, and then I see one of the scariest things I've seen to this day was Mattis leaping over that retaining wall, just frozen in midair with fear in his eyes as he fell 30 feet and landed on the guy. We caught that guy. He didn't bite him because he wasn't on a bite command, so he guarded the guy. I got down there, checked him out. He seemed like he was okay. We chased down the other guy because they called us over to that scene.
So you got this guy down. He's on top of the guy.
Yeah,
you locked him up,
right by
him
him.
off. Okay,
right by him. I put him in cuffs, turn him over to another guy another police officer that's with me. We go to the other scene where the other guy was running. Mattis is blowing by everyone. We catch up to that guy. He sees Mattis. He gives up, catches both guys, and he collapses. And it was one of those. And this is actually how the book starts off. Is my ride from the scene where he collapsed, Mattis collapsed, and he's have internal bleeding, and I'm questioning myself, like, what did I just do to my dog? Like, I let him get into this situation where I shouldn't have, and it's just this whole turmoil and this drive that I'm going through. Once again, that's how the book starts off. You can see he's fine. So it's not a book where the dog dies.
Right.
Just to let you know, end of the story. Here he is.
That's right.
Right. But that was huge. He definitely bailed me out. He showed such courage. He didn't hesitate. He leapt over. He caught two dudes. He didn't stop until his job was over, and that's when he gave into the pain he was feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing, Mattis. Amazing.
Yeah, he's an amazing.
So, when that happened, though, there were some medical complications, though, right?
Yeah.
At that point in time, and that's what retired him?
Yep. No, that's not what retired him. That's actually the beginning of his career. That was like a year into his career.
Okay.
And that's like some of the stuff I was asking myself is like this amazing dog. I knew from the beginning he was going to be incredible. Yeah. And I was like, I just broke because not only if he didn't recover physically, he had a lacerated liver and he could have passed. Like when I took him to the vet, they said we need to get him into surgery right away. But more than likely, he would have had long-lasting PTSD from the situation where he might be scared of heights or scared to engage. You know, the old Top Gun.
Right. That's right.
Maverick won't get back into the fight.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
And that's what I was really scared about with my dog, was that I had put him in a situation that he might not ever recover from.
But he got back in the fight.
He got back in the fight and most decorated dog in the history of our department.
That's
won our episode of America's Top Dog.
There you go.
And came in second in the champions.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He did well. He did well.
Yeah.
You know, what was that like? I mean, tell us about, you know, the American Top Dog. Talk a little bit about the show and being on TV. And, you know, here you got a bunch of different dogs. How do dogs communicate with each other? Do you, you know, and how do they interact with stuff?
Yeah, not great, especially working dogs. And that's kind of like you had to put your dog up before Mattis came over.
Yeah.
Because he's not great with other dogs. He actually used to be excellent with any dog. And my first police dog, Nico, when he retired, I was going to keep him. And Mattis at the same time, but Nico kept starting fights with Mattis. Oh. And so you got to think, like,
was he starting fights because he's like, oh, you think you're gonna take my job?
Yeah. And my first dog was also something we call very rank driven. Like, he wanted to be in charge, and Mattis is like, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
You know, no.
Right.
And so he kept trying to start fights, and eventually Mattis almost killed Nico, and I was like, I had to get rid of Nico because of that. But that, you know, they're all trying to be a protector in the line of work that we're asking them to do. So a lot of times they don't get along great with other dogs. He's fine with my other two dogs at home.
Boy or girl?
He's a boy.
Now, what's better, boy or girl? Protector.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you've seen some good girls and boys.
Oh yeah. There's
nothing statistically based on female, male.
No, the thing that you have to watch out for with the females is how they affect their working effect, because they're females and they go into heat cycles, and
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and that takes them out of service, and then it also takes every other dog that's on your unit, if it's a male, out of service, because
they can't be together.
They're in heat.
They're in heat.
Well, no, it's just distracting.
Yeah.
Like when there's a female in heat that's around a dog trying to work, it's not a good situation.
It's called time off. Don't they get time
Right?
off?
They
get paid time off too. Let's talk about that. Does dog get paid?
Oh yeah, well, kind of. You get canine pay, which is like, I think you get like 30 minutes extra every day for canine maintenance, is what they call it. So yeah, he kind of gets paid. Now he gets paid more with the book and everything.
Yeah, he's getting paid more with being a Purple Heart.
Yeah.
But what about food and stuff? What do you feed a dog like that?
So I prefer
anything he wants, right?
Right, that's right. What do you want, sir?
German Shepherd, right? Let's just tell the viewers real quick. German Shepherd.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
He's an Eastern European import. But he
was he bred here?
No, he's from a kennel in Czechoslovakia, was selected in another kennel in Holland, and then the kennel from Alabama that I got him from selected him from Holland.
Damn, that's a heck of a process.
Yeah.
So he's got some air miles.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You said you had been on Delta One, so is he.
So is he.
He had his own pod on Delta. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what is a daily food, like, you know, regiment? Is there a certain diet that they have to be on, being that they are a police dog?
Yeah, they eat like athletes, right? So no table food or anything like that. And like right now, he's actually on a stricter diet than ever. Because I have him on raw, because that's what they're created to eat, right? They hunt and kill raw. That's what their digestive system is made for.
Right.
And so I've seen the most health benefits from a raw diet. It has some chicken and veggies, bone in, throw an egg in for his coat.
Oh,
that's
yeah?
it.
Well, I think I saw a video with you cracking an egg over Mattis's head.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you cracked it over Mattis's head, you know, and for the viewers, you ought to check that one out and just see how that ends up. No, but he likes raw eggs, huh? He eats that stuff. That's part of the approach.
Hey,
It's like
predator,
Rocky.
man.
It's like Rocky, baby.
That's
you know,
it.
Rocky cracking over the
100%.
eggs. Boom, throw it down in the morning. He's ready to go.
He's shelling everything, though.
Does he? Oh, he's his own shell and everything.
Yeah, Rocky doesn't do that.
No, Rocky don't eat the shell.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty amazing. So what's it like being out in public and stuff? Obviously, he's here. A lot of people know him. You know, he's around. Kids want to pet him. They want to touch him. You know, you got to be careful, though, right? I mean, being the fact that he is a police dog, and
most dogs, yes.
Yeah, I mean, any dog, right?
Yeah.
Most likely, but you know, there's a little difference because if something does happen, they're gonna sue somebody.
Yeah, that's right.
You know.
Well, and that's one of the things I always wanted to do with him was I saw this incredible bridge that dogs could be between the community and police, and a lot of times the first answer is, "Hey, can I pet your dog?" And you're like, "No, he's a working dog," right? And I was like, I saw these crowds gathering around that are inquisitive and wanted to know more about him. And I also saw in the private industry guys like Nick White or, Kevin Beck or all these Cody Talent, all these great trainers that I knew of that had these amazing demo dogs that could interact with the public and still be amazing working dogs. And I was like, well, what are they doing different? And it's just they're socializing their dogs.
Right.
And so my goal was always to say yes. A lot of departments are scared of liability, and so they're like, okay, the dog's only a tool. You put him away, you throw him in your car, you only bring him out for work. You're training that dog to be horrible with the public, which is, I get it. And this is not a commentary like that's a bad
not wrong.
way to do it.
Right.
It takes a lot more effort and training to do what I did with him, and that was to make him social in every situation. So I can take him to a preschool class, and little Jimmy can hang all over him as I'm reading the book about Mattis to him, and then I can walk outside, and I can ask him to do his job, whatever that job is, and he's still going to be awesome at it.
Yeah, that's great. Has he ever let you down? Let's be honest.
I didn't expect that question.
Yeah,
Wow.
Let's be honest.
That's in training, I think there's been times where there's been learning experiences, but that's what I always saw training for was, and it's not that he let me down, is I had expectations and he didn't fulfill those expectations, but really
you didn't do a good enough job coaching him.
100%. But look, and I think, going back to Rocky, right, about, getting knocked down and get back up, it's not about what everyone else does to you. It's about what you do when they do it to you.
Right.
Right. And so that was my attitude in those situations. It's like, it's not him failing. I didn't make it clear what I wanted from him. So I failed. How can I take responsibility and do better next time?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the attitude we always took.
But you know what? It's like kids too. You tell kids to do something, but every now and then they're not going to listen.
Yeah.
Has he ever gotten to that point where he just doesn't want to listen to you? He's had one of them days. He's just like, I'm not listening to you, man. I just don't want to.
He's a really good dog.
I
haven't had that.
I just had an experience with Yankee, my dog, when I was putting him up because I knew Mattis was coming. He did not want to go be put up in my room. No, he wanted to see Mattis. He wanted to introduce himself.
Yeah, he's probably
and visit and stuff. And he was like, I'm not going in the room. It's the first time he didn't listen to me. And I'm like, you son of a little guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so that's never happened to you with Mattis, huh?
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
But it's my fault.
Yeah. always.
Yeah.
What other dogs? You got other dogs at home too?
I do.
I got his
son.
Baby?
I got his son Hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 2 years old. And
now, you train him? Is he going to be a canine dog?
No,
as well?
it's my wife's dog. So she's like, no, I'm doing everything with him. He's a jerk, man. He doesn't do anything except for Nick's course that I taught him.
There you go.
Yeah, I started teaching him article search just for that. I'm like, hey, this is the only thing I'm going to teach him. It's just for Nick. I'm going to do this to show that it can be done on a green dog.
Yeah.
And then I have Storm, who's a female, 6 years old, looks just like him, but about half his size, incredibly athletic. Neither one of them could be police dogs.
Yeah.
They don't have like the confidence that he has, but they're both amazing dogs.
It's so funny because you say that with so much conviction, like exactly what you're looking for in a police dog.
Yeah.
And you obviously had a lot of experience with that. Before Mattis, you've had other dogs too.
Nico
was one. Tell us about Nico. What was the difference between Nico and Mattis, really? Like,
So Nico had another handler before him.
And what kind of dog was he?
He's a German Shepherd as well. Yep, he was.
Is that most common for canine
Not
dogs?
necessarily. There's a big trend going towards Belgian Malinois, and what I actually
Nick loves a Belgian Malinois.
Oh, they're amazing dogs. Amazing. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted a Mal, and he just, like I said, he tested too good.
Yeah.
But I had Nico first. Nico was another handler's dog first, and so he was an experienced handler. I was a green handler coming in. Nico had quirks. I had lots of quirks. So there was a lot of learning from both of us. So the question of did he ever let you down with Nico, I would have said, once again, my fault. But yeah, I didn't have the confidence in Nico that I did in Mattis.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, what about the show, though? You finished in second. Whose fault? Yours or the dogs? Come on.
Oh, mine, 100%.
What happened? Tell us what happened on the finale. Then.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's a funny story too. because, and it's one of the things that it's kind of keep the main thing.
I can't wait to read this book because it's all in there. I see it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that.
Is one of the things that I messed up on. Well, not messed up on. It is the reason that we lost the show, though. The very last thing that they have to do in the finale, we run the doghouse, and if I had been faster through that, like if I could keep up with my dog, the guy who finished first was amazing, and his dog was amazing. They were such a good team, and I love competing against them. But his out. So what they have to do is go and bite a bad guy from a distance, and then from a distance, I have to call him off the bite back to my side. Right before we went to the show, the night before we left for Los Angeles, Santa Clarita is where we filmed that. He had a real bite where he went into a room, latched onto the guy, and then, like we had practiced for the show, popped off and came back to me. And I'm like, no, you need to get back in there. So I'm like, no, get back in there. And so the last thing in his mind, and it was the best reward that he's had in a long time. The guy in the fluffy suit is one reward, but actually getting the real bite, like that's a real reward for him. And so the law of precedence, he had just had this really good reward where he went to go engage this guy and popped off like I had asked him to, and then he got yelled at for it and had to go back in. And so we got onto the show, and that's where my 8 seconds that I lost by was he stayed on the bite too long, because right before we left, I told him, no, get back in there and get back on the bite.
You yelled at him.
I yelled
at him. You blew it.
100% I blew it.
100%. That's tough. But you know what? In the end, he has a Purple Heart, and he has done a pretty darn good job of everything else. So we'll give him a little slide on that.
Yeah.
How come you think that that show? I'm surprised it didn't take off. Go another season. What were your thoughts on that? Tell me some of the hard parts. Tell us what it was like. It's got to be hard with dogs. I mean, you're spending the night. They're sleeping. They're tired. I know they're filming certain hours a night. Sometimes at dark. They're filming 2, 3 in the morning.
Dark.
Yeah. So it's all
Yeah. No, it was a great show. What happened was 2019 is when we shot it, and then George Floyd and riots and A&E left. They canceled Live PD, and America's Top Dog. The main element of it was police dogs, and they also had some personal trainers too, who are amazing. But so they went away from it, and they had a season 2 and 3, just nobody watched it because it didn't have the police dogs on it. And so it was one of those that they had a change in opinion on what they saw as important, and that's fine.
Right.
But anyway, I think that's one of the reasons that it wasn't as successful, and Live PD not being on anymore, and
I thought it was great. It was a great show.
There's a lot of momentum with
timing.
those two things together.
Yeah.
And the nation needed to heal some, and that's what we wanted to do, was bring healing through our relationship and our social media and everything else.
Right. So, it's so funny too with social media with dogs. Like, you put a picture of yourself out, you might get a few likes. You put a picture of Matt, he's getting thousands of millions.
Oh yeah.
He's getting all kinds of likes.
Nothing you're gonna get likes on me.
Why is it America like they fault the dogs? Like there's so many famous dogs. Like I mean, they have their own pages. Matty got his own page now. Did you get his own page?
He's got 5.2 million followers.
5.2 million followers. A dog. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So he's truly the superstar.
Oh, heck yeah, man.
I got to go follow him. Where can we follow him?
TikTok, K9 Mattis, that's the 5.2. He's only got 300,000 on Instagram.
Only. Yeah. He's still growing. He's trying to get himself out there.
Yeah. On TikTok, he has more than Tom Brady.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Just on TikTok.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. How has Matty got a girlfriend, man?
He's had a few.
He's had a few.
Yeah, he's had quite a few litters because
does
he's
he
a really
get date
good
nights
dog.
though? Does he get date nights?
How's
that work?
It's kind of funny. He's had one real in-person breeding. Everything else has been, in the lab.
Gotcha.
So yeah, he's had a date.
He had a very
special girl. And that's where Hawk came from.
That's where Hawk came from.
That's right.
But you said Hawk's not going to go in the same line of duty.
Correct. Yeah.
So, what about now? So are you still handling now? Obviously, Maddie's retired. So what are you doing now?
I am not. I'm doing hiring recruiting for my police department, and then I have like a lot of my passion is communicating his story, how it can inspire other people. Hopefully, like the way that it did mine. He's made me a better man because of the dog that he is, and that's what I wrote the book for. And so speaking, writing books, things like that. I also do on the side.
Well, you've been in ministry too, right?
Yep.
I mean, that was been a part of your life, which has been a
huge
big
part.
Thing. Talk about the transition in that and how you feel like that affected you in your life as well.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever a transit. Like I didn't see it as a transition. A lot of people said going from, because I was in Marine Corps, and then that was an amazing. And I was infantry Marine, and I went from infantry Marine to youth pastor, which I did for 10 years, and then I went from that to police work, and people are like, that's a huge jump. And I never saw it as one. I always saw, like, in my life to be successful, it was how can I serve other people? And that's what I see the police work as. And if I had gone from Marine Corps to police, I would have been a horrible police officer. Like the thing that ministry gave me is it gave me compassion. To be able to look at people and see them is man, I'm no different than anyone else that I interact with. I've been forgiven. I've been given grace in my life, and I might have a different attitude than you do, and that's it.
Right.
And so if you look at people through those eyes, you're going to be a lot better as a police officer than if you're, I'm right, you're wrong,
right,
type of attitude.
It's tough being a police officer nowadays, though, isn't it? I mean, people have put, politics, there's a lot of turmoil in there, with police officers, but just a lot of good people out there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but what is that? How do you feel about that? And how's that played, a role in your life?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I live and work in a place that's incredibly supportive. So that's that's been a blessing in my life, is people have always said, thank you for your service. You occasionally run into people that don't.
Right.
And then what you have to do is you have to put on the glasses is I don't know where they come from. I don't know the glasses that they're seeing me through. Like they don't know the world that I'm coming from and the glasses that I see. And so that's what I've been always trying to do with our social media and everything else. Like it's all about bringing people together. Mm-hmm. It's not about, well, this is the reason I do it's more about, hey, I'm a dad. I love dogs. I love Jesus. Like all these different things. This is who I am.
Amen. Yes.
Right. This is who I am, and this is my life. And maybe looking at me, you'll understand the way that I make decisions, and I want to understand why you make the decisions that you do.
Right.
And I think we need more of that in this nation. Like honestly,
100%.
Instead of the wedge that's being driven between people, is a lot of times when you sit down with someone and have respect for them, they have respect for you, and you can come together.
Yeah. No, well said, man. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's just nice and it's refreshing to hear somebody to say that on the other side, because looking in is one thing, looking out is another, right? But, looking out is the same way. Everybody has a perspective of what they see and how they interpret it. It's not always bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think you said it yourself, depending on the lens, you don't know what's going through that person's day. Right. People can have a bad day. It happens.
Yep.
But in the end, you are serving. You're serving to help. You're helping to protect. You're helping to, to maintain the laws. And then you have your dog that sometimes you give up. You put into these situations that you don't know how you're going to come out of.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest. Has there been any firearms or anything that's happened where Maddie's been a part of?
Yeah. Well, so we had one situation, and I thought it was pretty brave of him. We went to the situation where the guy told us after the fact that he was trying to commit suicide by cop. And what suicide by cop is
he wants to get shot.
He wants us to end his life.
Right.
Right. And so he's doing anything he can to provoke us to shoot. And
why is that? What goes through a person's mind to even think that?
Yeah. Well, he was one. You learn his story. He didn't want to go back to prison. And I don't know you don't know any of this in the heat of the moment. Sure. You don't know anything that's going through the guy's mind.
He's trying to kill you at the point.
Well, that's what I thought.
Right.
And that's where he ended up saving this guy's life. And what happened was he was running from some police officers. It was not a biteable offense at all. Like I was just there with my dog on perimeter, and he started running right at us. And so we cut him off. He sees us, and we say, "Let me see your hands." And the second we say, "Let me see your hands," he reaches into his waistband and starts pulling something out. Now, they showed us a video. This is Cop 101 basic training. Is they show this? It's Dean Kaler video, right? Is where this guy goes back into his car, grabs a rifle, and comes out shooting with no warning whatsoever.
Right.
So they're like, you always have to be prepared. Hands kill you, right? And so the second we said, let me see your hands, and he puts one hand up, takes a deep sigh, and reaches in and starts pulling something out metallic, we have the right to shoot.
Right.
Instead, I send my dog. He's fearless. He runs right at the guy. He covers 30 yards in an instant, takes the guy down, and a cell phone comes out. He saves that guy's life. And not only did he save that guy's life, all the construction workers around that saw this whole thing, they said, we can't believe you didn't shoot him. I'm like, can you write that down in a statement, please? Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I would have had to carry that weight with me for the rest of my life, is that I would have been justified. But
Right.
That did. You still live with someone's life.
Of course.
That you could have, that I would have had to, I would have taken, and it would have been a cell phone.
Right.
But because of my dog and his bravery and his fearlessness, that guy's life was saved.
Yeah.
And there's some mental health that was saved. Like one of the most amazing things about this dog, and I saw it when he retired, was he really was not just this amazing working dog, but he was like my therapy dog. Because we see the darkest things in police work. And I always had this dog that cared about me, he'd put his head through the little pass through and put it on my shoulder, right? And no matter what I just saw or what I just went through, I could just scratch that big old noggin of his and feel his hot breath on my face. And it made the world a better place to be a police officer.
Right.
And so when he retired, that was one of the biggest things that I realized is like, wow, he was like a therapy dog for me too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? They say dog's a man's best friend, right?
100%.
And now he's your partner too.
Yeah.
You know, which makes it even a stronger bond,
Yes,
a
sir.
relationship. And you know, I've said this all the time. You know, when I come home from work, my dog meets me at the door every day.
Yeah.
No matter what time I come home, whether it's morning, night, a couple days later, if I'm traveling, when I come in, he's the first one that greets me at the door.
Yep.
I don't always see your children. You don't always see your wife or your the girlfriend that you have around. But that dog always shows up, man. He always shows up. So that's
incredible.
It is incredible healing. You know, talk a little bit about being a cop, though. You have seen some trauma. You've seen some really bad things, and people need to understand, viewers need to understand what a day in a life of a police officer really is. It's not just somebody sitting there pulling people over, getting them tickets, but that's the good days, right? But there's some other challenges and stuff. Talk about a couple of your biggest challenges that you faced, and if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, so I mean, kids always get me, and seeing death and affect families with children that have passed, like that, those were always hard things to carry along with me. And you carry them along with you. And there's things that I tell people when I drive around Alpharetta, which is where I work. It's a beautiful city.
Oh, yeah,
beautiful
gorgeous,
city, up and coming, number one growing city. Yep. It's, affluent. Like I said, people love us there.
Yep.
But every street that I go down there's a suicide, there's an assault, there's a rape, when I go back to when I go back to my hometown, it's like, oh, that's where I kissed Rebecca for the first time
behind the tree over there. Yeah.
The football game. Oh man, that was so good, right? It's all these good memories. But when I drive around somewhere that I've worked, and it's a great place to work, and I've loved every second of it, but there's dark, it's a dark place. And if I didn't have my faith and my family, I'm not sure how I'd do it. Yeah. Like, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think God put the right people in your place.
Oh, 100%.
That's just the reality of it all.
That's it. I agree.
Talk a little bit about transition. What is it like now that Mattis is retired? What is it like going to work without him?
It sucks. It was one of the hardest things because he didn't know he was retired, right? We had the ceremony. He got a plaque. Yeah. People showed up too. It was cool, but he didn't know that he was retiring.
Does he ever jump back in the car like, hey, come on,
he wanted
to
go? Yeah, for the first year that he retired, every morning when I would wake up, he would run down to his harness and wait by his harness for me to put it on. And then
so that was a call. He knew when the harness came on. Yep. He was part of the package when we're out riding.
He'd get his harness on and run to the door, and so he would run to his harness, and I wouldn't put it on, and then he'd walk to the door and just be confused as I left. After about a year, 6 months a year, he started just walking to the top of the stairs when I woke up, and he'd say goodbye at the top of the stairs. He's the only dog that would get up and walk me to the top of the stairs and say bye. So it's definitely hard. Like, best job in the world is being a canine handler, and I miss it. every second, and he does too. Like I said, when we came here today and I put his collar on, he was so excited because he knew he was going to get to be with me.
Yeah, get to go to work, man. He's got to do something.
This is
cool.
work now.
This is work now. He gets to go make public
Podcast.
appearances.
That's right.
That's good. Let's talk about the book, man. Transition
Yeah.
into the book here. Obviously, this is the book that you've written. It's A Dog Named Mattis for all the viewers that are out there. Tell us a little about the book and what went into you deciding to create it.
Yeah, it was like I said, it's some cool cop stories. It really is, but it's the lens that I see the world through. It's once again, I saw this amazing dog and the courage that he had, the excellence that he lived his life, and I was like, there's things that I can learn from that. And so that's what it's 12 lessons that hopefully you can apply in your life that I've applied in my life just from watching him, and hopefully it's made me a better person. So, and it's wrapped around some cool stories. Hopefully it's pretty fast paced and engaging. Here's the funny story, right? Is you've already asked me. I was a Marine, right? I flunked out of college. Crayon eater as a Marine, a police officer. Like, this is not high academia, right? So people are, did you write it? And I'm like, I did. Like, no ghostwriter. It was one
really?
of those. And Tommy Nelson, who did the publishing for me, they took a huge chance on me because all I had was kind of an outline, not a manuscript. And they took a chance on a crayon-eating Marine infantry guy that had never written a book before in his life and said, let's give it a shot. Yeah. And I'm very appreciative for that, and it's done pretty good.
That's great. Where can they find this book? Where can we get it?
Anywhere you get books.
Amazon, boom.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target.
There you go.
Yeah.
There it is, man. Go out there and get that book. I can't wait to take time. Now, you have some kids' books, too, though.
I do. I have 3 kids' books.
That you have there. So if you have little ones at home, those are fun, too, right? Tell me what inspired the kids' book. Obviously, you're around a lot of kids, and you have kids of your own, but what made you decide, hey, let me do a kids' book?
It was Harper, my youngest. I was telling her, because I started writing the adult book, which was really hard. And I was trying to put it in terms that she would understand. She was like, I was telling the story of Mattis. And so I wrote it down in a way that I thought she would like it. And she got emotional. And I saw the connection that it had with her. And so that's actually where I started with the kids' books and started doing, the first one is a dog, or what is it? My Dog Mattis is the very first one. And then I got My Dog Mattis and the Barefoot Bandits, which is another story about him. Then I got Canine Mattis on the Job. And so those are the 3 kids' books. But it was my daughter Harper when she was 6 years old, and I was trying to tell her about what Mattis did, and I saw the way it connected. And so now it's becoming, and what I'm hoping to grow it into even more is teaching kids about characteristics that really get you far in life, like work ethic and courage and things like that this dog has. It's
crazy, man. Work ethics is so important, and people just don't have it today. Nobody wants to work. Everybody wants to make money.
Yeah.
They want to do it from home, from their pajamas, and they think it's just going to show up in the mailbox.
Yeah. You don't have to be the smartest, the tallest, the strongest. Yeah. You just got to outwork people.
Exactly. When a dog can outwork you, you better think about that one.
Well, he'll outwork all of us, man.
Which is awesome. One of the things I want to ask real quick, these people, they wear them jackets and stuff for the dogs to practice biting and stuff. What is that like, man? Like,
yeah. So you'll see some like the super, super fluffy ones, right?
Yeah.
And those are the most protective ones. We used to have those at my police department. Those are the worst for training.
Really?
Right? They're very protective. You barely feel the dog on it. He gets mostly fabric. But the thinner the suit, the better it is for the dog. Because what you got to think is the dog's playing a game, right? And so he sees fluffy suit, he gets the bite. And so the thinner you can get the suit, the more realistic it is to life. And so I always got the thinnest suits possible. So it would hurt a lot. When I selected him, one of the reasons I picked him was he's the hardest biting dog I've ever caught in my life.
Really?
Yeah, he bit me on the back of my elbow, and I was wearing the suit. I couldn't open my hand for 3 days.
Oh.
Yeah, you bruise. He was...
So it really hurts.
Oh.
Regardless of the suit.
He was notorious for biting through what we call hidden sleeves, which are supposed to keep teeth from puncturing. This guy, like, he would puncture.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow, that's great. Now, so is there a certain body part? Do they always go to the arms?
No, so they're trained to go for whatever's available.
Is that because if they got a gun or they're holding a knife or something, so they're going for the arm?
It can be, but at the same time, if they're like up underneath, like hiding under a dumpster or something like that, only their legs are sticking out, they got to go after that.
Yeah.
So we want extremities. We don't want anything that could be like life-threatening, so not neck or face.
What about the junk, man? You have them go for the junk or what?
So America's Top Dog, there was this little shorty bull, Amanda Cauldron, who's in Georgia. She trained her shorty bull who was like 25 pounds, maybe 30, and that's right where on the TV show America's Top Dog. Right there.
Bam, right there in the junk.
We do
that
not.
will slow you
Police
down.
Work, no.
That will slow you down, though, for sure.
It sure would. Sure. Inappropriate for some crimes, honestly.
Well, that's one thing they'll remember for the rest of their life.
That's right.
I got a question, though. What is the command? I mean, don't say it right now because I don't want him to go. But I mean,
sign language?
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you did I guess my question is, if you said the command, if it was. It's not like Wham. It's not Wham Bam.
Gosh,
it's not Wham Bam. So we know it's not Wham Bam. So that's good. He's still cool.
Yeah.
You know. But if it was Wham Bam, if you accidentally said it, is he turn and look and he goes and bites somebody who's closest to him or what?
Not necessarily. So it's contextual as well. Like I would not say it right now just because.
Thank you.
Like we don't want to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like my privates. I just say it.
Yeah.
I want to keep them.
There'd be some damage.
Yeah.
It is contextual. It's also like. He's bitten without command too, like because he's also supposed to protect. So if Alexander over here just gets mad at me and doesn't like the things that I'm saying, decides to walk up to me, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah,
he does.
Sometimes, yeah.
Does he get a little lippy sometimes?
Every now and then, you know, these young kids, you know how they go.
But if he just came up and tried to attack, Mattis would respond appropriately.
Yeah.
So one of the coolest things that dogs have, they have something called a vomeronasal organ, where they actually smell the hormones that you emit. So he knows the intentions of people, and it actually heightens his awareness. So when someone is adrenaline, fear, anger, like those things, he's like, oh, I might get to play the game that I like when you say that word.
Now, let me ask you: if you got sick, you were off for a day. Does Maddie still got to go to work?
No.
Okay, so he's not going with it. All right, you're a team. That's it.
Yeah.
So there's no way somebody else has got to know. What happens if you go down in an active duty? You guys are together and something happens.
I had a plan for that.
Yeah, so there's a plan. Is there like a secret code in an envelope for somebody else to pull it out and say what the code is to say what the bite word is?
No,
Not
well, they
Bam.
wouldn't be able to use him. And what would the problem would be, like in a situation, car accident, or God forbid I got into a situation where I got knocked unconscious and Mattis is there protecting me because that's what he would do.
Right.
Anyone who came up to me could be a problem. So we always carried like a bite sleeve around in our own cars. So like firefighters or other police officers knew that if that was the situation, to go grab the bite sleeve, go grab the bite jacket, let him latch onto that, and then put him in the car. So
that was the way to get it done, huh?
Gotta train for it.
That's good to know. Good knows. Good to know. So listen, I do have a couple questions here. This was related to your book. One was that came in and says, in your book, you discuss building bridges, not walls.
Yep.
They want to know, how do you think law enforcement can better build bridges with the communities they serve in today's polarized climate?
Yep. Sir Robert Peel wrote these wonderful things, and he says in some of his theories about policing is you can only police a community that you have trust with. And so that's the biggest thing, is building that trust, and it's open lines of communication. And that's what I really saw the opportunity with canine. And what I try to encourage when I talk to other canine handlers and stuff like that is, they have a job to do, and you want them to be, and I wanted, the three things I wanted was to be excellent in the way that we deployed, right? So the way we did our job, the way that we trained, and the way that we did community relations, because I said those three are the most important things that we do. The community relations, dogs create a bridge. They do. Take advantage of it. And a lot of times we're like, no, they have a job to do. And so we'll let that slip. And to me, it was just, we have to build the trust with the community. So, and they're fascinated by what these dogs do.
Sure.
Tell them about it.
Right.
Or let them engage. Let them see it.
Let them see it.
And so that's how our social media started. Like you asked about his followers, was I just started showing training. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're looking for. Oh, you missed this, or I missed this.
Yeah.
We're going to do it this way. Like it was just being open and honest about what we do. And I think that's police officers that get into the profession, they have pure motives. The oath that we raise our hand to and swear to, I think everybody is in support of, right? Is to protect our Constitution against enemies, both foreign and domestic. Right? Who's got a problem with that?
Nobody shouldn't. Right.
They shouldn't.
That's right.
And as long as we keep our motives pure, right, and we're communicating with it and building that trust with the community, that's why I thought it was so important. And I had an unfair advantage with a dog.
Yeah. Well, you keep talking like this, Mark. You might be able to run for mayor over there in Alpharetta. I mean, you're saying all the right things today. I mean, you're very likable, and the things that come out of your mouth sound great.
As long as I have a dog with me. Otherwise, I'm very average.
There you go. Well, here's another one that came in. What legacy do you hope to leave behind through your work with Mattis? And how do you want that legacy to influence future canine handlers and officers?
I love that question, man. I don't know who that came from. That is fantastic. Two things. One, the very first, he's named after General James Mad Dog Mattis. And so my first, when he got hurt, got the Purple Heart, I actually got an email from the general. And he said, I'm honored that you named him after. And it was always my hope that he would live up to his name. And he's the most decorated dog that we've ever had. He's courageous. He's smart. He's intelligent. He's made me look better my entire career. And when he retired and I wrote the book, the aide to General Mattis actually asked for a copy. He wrote me back again and said, I am just honored that this dog had my name. So that's the first part. That's the legacy, is I wanted him to live up to the name that he has. The second part is, if we could leave a legacy, I always wanted to leave canine better than I found it. I wanted to inspire other handlers to train harder than they've trained before, to raise the standard in police work, that we're not just going for the lowest certification, but we're training to every trainer that I saw in the private industry, where they had these dogs that could interact with the public and they could be excellent at the job that they did, but it was because the time that they put into their dogs nonstop. They're always learning or unlearning. And so if I can inspire people, handlers specifically for that, and then for people like that pick up my book, the legacy that I really want is just that they see their lives too, like I do, is it's this great learning experience. Everything you go through, right? Everything is something that's teaching you. Nelson Mandela. I never lose.
That's right.
I either win or I learn.
That's right.
Right? And that's what my life with a dog has been, is these lessons that I learn. At the end of the day, like a gladiator, I want to everything I've done is just leave it out there on the field, in their arena. Is I hope that the book inspires people to learn from their life and get the utmost out of it, because that's what I saw from him. And what he does with his life is he has the most fun with his life because he pursues everything with all of his heart. And that's what I wanted to do with my life. That's what I want to do with my books, is hopefully inspire people to do the same.
It's awesome. Any regrets?
No, because everything gets you to where you are. I mean, I've made stupid decisions. I'm glad there wasn't internet when I was, a Marine or a teen. I've made some stupid decisions, but it's made me who I am, and I've learned from. So yeah, I can't say that I do have regrets.
All right, cool. All right, last question I got for you. Rin Tin Tin, most legendary police dog of all time. How do you feel about that now that you have Mattis in your corner?
What did Rin Tin Tin do?
I don't know, but he's...
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean...
Okay.
But that was way before my time, too.
Yeah, I love seeing...
What makes a great police dog, though? Let's be real. What makes a great police dog?
Okay. Without coming across as arrogant, it takes a really good handler. It takes a great selection of a dog, but it takes a handler that is willing to put the time into him.
Well, you got to have patience, too, man.
Patient.
I'm just saying.
So you just nail, like, that is that's one of the lessons, right, is you learn in this book, is I'm supposed to be the smart one. I'll get frustrated with him, but I'm the problem. Right? So patience is a huge one. And once again, it teaches you so much about life, because a lot of times you get frustrated with your wife or your kids or whatever. It's because it's miscommunication on your part. Right? So it's taking responsibility for things. That is huge. But great dogs, it's good people that are pouring into them.
Yeah. That's good. If you are a viewer out there that's watching, they want to do what you did, they want to be a canine handler, how do they get started? What should they do?
So you have to be a police officer, or you could be a military working dog handler, or there's also contract work that you can do. But I would say there's actually a book that What a Dog Knows, and it's Kat, and I can't remember her last name right now, that wrote it. But it was a great book that taught me just kind of the science behind how dogs see the world, and the way that she does it is from different stories of going and talking to amazing people. Learn from as many people as you can. It's one of those that, if you remember how UFC started out, it was this style versus this style. Now it's mixed martial arts. You learn everything because it's going to make you a better fighter. And that's what I would say about dog training, is there's a lot of compartmentalization. where people think I know more than you. It's like, no, I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to learn from you. Learn from you. That's why I love what Nick White's doing.
Yeah.
He's taking that SitStayLearn and he's going to the best trainers in the world. And somehow he picked me too. But he's going to all these people and he's all these different lessons.
Yep.
Like there's one that I saw that he's promoting, Dustin Wynn. And I'm buying the course because I am blown away by what that guy is teaching his dogs.
Right.
And I'm like, I wish I had known that when I was a handler.
Yeah.
So learn as much as you can from as many people as you can. Never stop learning. Never stop chasing after like whatever that profession is. Like you remember The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Yeah. He says from the morning they wake to the when they lay their heads to sleep, they pursue whatever it is they've been tasked with to be the best at it. Right? That's how they approach life. That they, whatever it is they do, right? Archery, sword fighting, making baskets, whatever it is, they're seeking the mastery of it every single day.
Yeah.
And if you find whatever that is for you and seek to be the best at it, day after day, right?
Right.
Help others along the way to get to the same place. It just
So
makes it a
easy.
little better.
So easy to do. You know?
Well,
To help others, though, it's really,
Yeah.
it's really easy. You can help other people. It takes zero effort, realistically, when it comes to helping and offering a helping hand.
Right.
It's just people just don't do it.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. If Mattis could talk to you right now, if it could speak English and say something to you, what would you want him to say to you?
You've been a good friend. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? We're going to leave it right there. There you have it, folks. You got Mattis, the hero, the Purple Heart. But guess what? Behind Mattis comes the man with it all. And you know what? Mark Tappan, what a great job you did today. So thankful to be here and to hear your story and learn a little bit more about Mattis. Appreciate your service, your time, everything you've done for not just the community, the people, but for all those people out there watching, all them dog lovers, all them dogs themselves, because they're going to get treated a little bit better too. I think after watching and hearing these things too. This is your boy Wham Bam. And as always, as I say, if your life was a movie, would it be worth watching? And if the answer is no, then stop being ordinary and start being extraordinary. Till next Wednesday, I'm out.